I think it's pretty fair to say that Mercedes have been a mess this season. On track, they've been fine, but off track, Toto Wolff has been like a teenager worried he's going to lose his first girlfriend. He's been saying anything he can to try and keep Lewis Hamilton at the team. The team are not happy with being deposed from their pedestal at the top of the sport and seem to have decided that it's now time to completely change their car. Want to know the details of what Mercedes will be doing and when you can expect a change? Then stick around for the rest of the video. After the opening race in Bahrain, Mercedes released a letter apologising for their performance to their fans. It was rightly received with shock and disbelief before the criticism started to land at the feet of Toto Wolff. Some said he needed to take the blame himself, not shift it to other team members. Others said it doesn't matter what they say, it's what happens on track that matters, and this letter does nothing but embarrass the team. The letter was largely overlooked in Saudi Arabia. The team's future was questioned instead. Lewis Hamilton was the subject of most of these questions. Toto Wolff swore that Hamilton would be signing a new contract over the winter, one that would keep him at the team past the end of the year. That never happened, and in Saudi Arabia, he went as far as saying that Lewis might be better off elsewhere if he wants to win another Drivers' Championship before retiring. Yeah, like you, I don't know what is going on either. Mercedes is a nest of mixed messages at the moment, so instead of talking about Wolff's public breakup with his first love Lewis Hamilton, let's look at what matters: the car's performance on track. Mercedes kept faith in their unique zero side pod design over the winter, but the W14 has proven to be significantly off the pace set by Red Bull, while Fernando Alonso's Aston Martin also outraced them in Bahrain and Saudi Arabia. Speaking to Sky Sports F1 after the second round of the season, where George Russell and Lewis Hamilton finished around half a minute away from victory, Wolff opened up on where the team will go from here. If you look at the Red Bulls, they are just so quick. I think we understand the car more. I'm looking optimistically to the future. We just need to put it in a different window, the Mercedes team boss commented. We're changing the bodywork of the car, how the floor works, all of these things. Mechanically, we're looking at certain areas. The team in Brackley is just flat out. It's important to remember that the side pods are not the be-all and end-all of the Mercedes design. When people hear of a change in design concept or philosophy at Mercedes, they instantly point at the side pods, but that isn't a design concept or philosophy. The problem with the W14 goes much further. Those side pods are just a part of the overall aerodynamic design. They can't just copy and paste the Aston Martin side pods, stick them on the W14 and then suddenly go half a second a lap faster. Lewis Hamilton has clearly gotten sick of this misunderstanding and in an annoyed tone tried to explain it to an interviewer in Saudi Arabia. People keep talking about getting the new side pods on the car, but it's not as simple as that. You put the Red Bull side pods on our car and it won't change a thing. It literally won't change a thing. It might even go slower. The side pods work as part of the overall package to direct air where the team wants it. If you just get someone else's part and stick it on your car, you'll ruin everything that is working. Imagine you needed a new front left tyre on your car. You go to the shop, look around, find one you like the look of, but it's 5 centimeters bigger than the other 3 tyres on your car. You ignore the mechanics and get it fitted anyway, and your car becomes completely undrivable. That is what would happen if Mercedes just copied another team's side pods. A changing concept has to go far further than that. Mercedes have avoided giving details on what their current concept is and what they will do to change it. And even if they did, we probably wouldn't understand anything they said. But Toto has offered some background on the development shift. We headed into one direction last year and we wanted to have it work. It worked and it got better and better. But now, coming out this year, we really realized it's a dead-end street. These are the facts and everybody knows that now. So we turned around and we're running fast out of that dead-end street. We can see them at the front, they're just far away at the moment. This is something that has annoyed me about the whole Mercedes situation this year. They say they were making inroads last year and used their improvement relative to Red Bull and Ferrari as evidence of this. But Ferrari stopped upgrading their car after the summer break, and Red Bull stopped shortly after when they realised the championships were theirs. Mercedes carried on upgrading when everyone else stopped 10 races ago. Of course they made gains on the front runners. Did they just not realise that everyone else had started working on their 2023 cars already? As with all Formula 1 regulations, the designs converge on the fastest team the longer the regulations are in place. This year, the cars have far fewer unique features than before. Why be innovative when it's much easier and safer to just mimic what the fastest team on the grid is doing? In the past, Mercedes felt that its best hope of being the fastest team in F1 was by pioneering its own design concepts. Toto has suggested that the team are now shedding that belief. And if that means trying to imitate the Red Bull design, then he's clear that the team will do that. I think at this stage, we have no dogmatism of how the car should look, explained Wolff. It just needs to be the quickest possible race car. And if that car looks like a Red Bull, or like SpaceX, I don't care. It just needs to be quick. And if it's a Red Bull, we will put a little bull somewhere with a sticker, and I'll have no shame if it's quick. Wolff suggests that the lessons of Aston Martin, which abandoned its original idea at the start of 2022, shows the potential that there is to make improvements after committing to a change of direction. Definitely what Aston Martin has done proves that. Within 6 or 7 months, you can gain so much lap time that it makes you play very much at the front. So that is good to see. It is good to see for all of us that you should never write off a season if these kinds of steps can be done. There has been a lot of talk about Mercedes copying Red Bull, but I don't see it happening. Aston Martin is already using Mercedes' engine, gearbox and rear suspension, and they're making it work. If Mercedes are going to copy anyone, it's going to be the car that's challenging at the front of the grid while using identical hardware. The engine and gearbox play a huge role in how you design the chassis and rear suspension, due to where they sit in the car. It isn't as simple as saying you want to do what Red Bull are doing because your engine parts literally won't fit in with what they're doing. They are two puzzle pieces that won't go together. Wolff actually went into detail about this in a recent interview. He talked about how the chassis and monocoque might be where Mercedes look to make changes. They are the absolute bones of the car and would represent a true change in concept. I think the monocoque is one thing, and that's obviously there are weight implications, center of gravity implications. Where does the driver sit, more forward or more rearwards? We talk about minimum weight in Formula 1 a lot. The regulations say your car must weigh a certain amount, but teams will aim to get the car below that weight. Then they can add weight to move the center of gravity, which is a huge bonus. Maybe Mercedes' massive lack of rear downforce could be because the car's center of gravity is too far forward. Toto continued, "But I think the biggest gains that we need to find is how can we extract more downforce all around the track. And these are the areas we're chasing now. And once you come to the conclusion in the next few months that that was the right avenue, then things are going to continue that way. And if we see that it's not enough to actually challenge for the front, then there might be more radical decisions that need to be taken." By the sounds of things, Mercedes know they've made a mistake in the very bones of the car. This isn't going to be a superficial rebuild. The problems won't be fixed by some new wings and side pods, or even a new floor. They need to rebuild from the inside out, and that's going to take much longer than Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes fans will want. When asked how long it would take for the team to catch up, Toto said, "I think the lag is probably between 6 and 12 months, because that's the time it took us to figure out what was actually happening with the car. This isn't going to be a fix for this season. Mercedes should be aiming at pre-season testing in 2024 as their target. Due to the cost cap, a new chassis this season would probably mean no other upgrades for the whole year. Neither of those options sounds good if the plan is to tempt Hamilton to stay, do they? Let us know what you think of Mercedes' chances of developing the car this season in the comments down below. And until next time, drive safe and bye for now.